everybody. Welcome to Between the Lions, a bi-weekly, bite-sized oral history of the ongoing mission by the musical collective known as My Soul Among Lions to put all 150 psalms from the Bible to music. You said it with me, didn't you? My name is Nathan, your humble and obedient host. I've got Jake, Pastor Jake, CEO, Warhorn Media, lyricist from My Soul Among Lions. Hey, Jake.
Hey, Nathan.
And, of course, Pastor Phil Moyer, lyricist, composer, producer extraordinaire for My Soul Among Lions. How we doing, Phil?
Doing great, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing phenom, tip-top terrific. So, today we were talking about another version of Psalm 4. A couple weeks ago we talked about In You I Trust. This is a case where we had two radically different concepts. And how did the concept for God of My Righteousness come about?
A couple of different factors played into God of My Righteousness. Some of it we've talked about before. Why did the nations rage? Kind of, let's take an optimistic approach to a song.
Right.
We can get at the core of the song without it feeling too over the top. And there was two things going on. There was a little bit of concern that In You I Trust might turn out to be a little too melodramatic.
A little maudlin or whatever.
A little maudlin, a little melodramatic at the end of the day when it was all said and done, which proved to be false, but it was a concern.
Unfounded concern.
An unfounded concern. But there was also this other aspect that we wanted to bring to the Psalm project and that we were playing with. And it was, to what degree do we want to write kids songs?
Mm-hmm.
Should this be a project that's less about corporate worship and more about psalm settings for kids?
Mm-hmm.
For our kids to sing.
Well, me and Phil actually talked about this, but one of the things that we talked about, I don't remember what context it was in, but we talked about the idea that kids love this stuff, even when we're not intentionally going out of our way to do it for them.
Yeah.
They just really, kids buy into this project really easily. Like, kids aren't ashamed about God smashing his enemies. I think that's what we were talking about maybe.
Yeah.
Like on Psalm 2, kids don't have the same angst. They're just like, cool.
Yeah.
God smashes his enemies. This is great. They really like this project. And Philip was saying how one of the most encouraging things, I think you said, was just to see kids respond to this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when you start to realize that that's happening, it's hard not to lean into it occasionally.
Right.
So I think that one of the ways to look at God of My Righteousness, and I don't know what Jody would say about it. This is very much a Jody song. I think I get a writing credit, but I don't.
You do? I can confirm.
I don't think I actually contributed very much at all. I may have helped with the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's maybe all I did with this one. This is very much a Jody song, but it came out of a lot of conversations that Jody and I had about In You I Trust and about, the vibe and about, do we want to, let's try a kid's song, that sort of thing. And so you can see this sort of as and it is, I think it's a really great way to see this project for what it is, which is a collective, ideas are happening in response to other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Songs are conversing with one another. This is just a completely opposite take. We've got the very serious, straightforward version. And when you do that, that gives you freedom to take other avenues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, what we talked about with Psalm 1. We had a very straight up, straightforward, how blessed is the man. Having that in your pocket gives you the freedom to try something really poetic like Night and Day.
Mm-hmm.
We had a serious, straightforward adaptation of the Psalm In You I Trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's try a more lighthearted kids version.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it works really well. It doesn't have the gravity that In You I Trust has, but it has some really great things going for it that's really singable, something that kids love.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you do have something that's even more singable.
Yeah.
I remember we debated about which should go on the A side, which should go on the B side, and it was a tough call because, well, there's strengths to both of them. And I think in the end, the one I would put forward for a church would be this version we're talking about now, God of My Righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's singable, it's
so
corporate.
singable. Yeah.
The other one is more very individualistic. It doesn't lend itself well toward worship. But nonetheless, I think for the sake
I
of
Trust is
the
more
flow
like
of the album.
Yeah, it worked really great in the flow of the album.
Right.
But it's much more of a you alone in your car pouring your complaints out to God.
Right.
Kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess we know what Jake does in the car.
That's what I do. I pour out my complaints.
It's not usually the place I do that, but
Well, I was trying to think of there's
I
a first
usually
context for
kneel.
listening to music that I,
Yes, no, you're right.
Right.
I don't have a lot of space for alone listening to music time in my life or in my house.
I think it's fascinating. I love it in creative projects when you take a risk and you just get away with it. When you do that, inevitably it feels inevitable. Inevitably it feels inevitable. When you do that, it feels inevitable because it works. And so why wouldn't it work? It was always supposed to work. But if you just look at this, O God of my righteousness, who saves me from deepest distress, please hear me when I call and answer my request. O God of my righteousness. If you just read that lyric and then somebody told you, we're going to put it to, O God of my right, you're like, really?
That's really cheesy.
That's kind of weird. Are you intentionally trying to undermine the authority and gravity of the? I mean, I don't remember anybody having particular angst about this. I certainly didn't. It just worked. But you could see how you could. Like, it's a bold choice. Actually, it really works, and it really feels intuitive, which is fascinating to me because I would never read that psalm and make that intuitive choice. It wouldn't actually be intuitive to me, is what I mean.
Well, I hadn't ever thought about this, but Jody made the video with his daughter. I forget how old she was at the time, maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah,
maybe 5 or 6,
something like that. She's young.
So young, but she could sing, had a pretty voice, and she just was all full of joy and
did cute little things like slap the couch on beat.
It just won our hearts to this psalm.
Well, yeah, and then you play that at home with your kids, and now your kids have a new favorite song. And
I want to do the song Paloma's on. I want to watch Paloma sing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. If you want to sell something, just get a kid. Kids are great sales people. Yeah, and I don't want to not... Jake, if you worked on the bridge, then you worked on a pretty cool part, because congregationally, that part, how long, O sons of man, will you try and shame me? That's just like a fun fist-pumping moment. Which is one of the things I've enjoyed about this project is I think a lot of these songs, because they talk about God's wrath and his punishing sin and his taking out sinners, they give you fist pump moments, which you can only get in a rock arena. Generally speaking, you're not going to go to a modern Christian concert. We said at the outset that we didn't want to just bash modern Christian music because a lot of it's good, but generally speaking, you don't just get a rousing thing to pump your fist to when you listen to Christian music, I'd say. And I enjoy that My Soul Among Lions has those kinds of things. And you might, if you just listen to the album, not even think of it that way. But I've sung this in church enough to know that everybody's really excited to. How long, O sons of man, will you try and shame me? If it was a concert, you'd pull out your lighter or whatever. It's a nice moment. Was there anything about the production of this one that you remember, Phil, putting it together? Anything special about it?
I really don't.
Pretty straightforward?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It just kind of worked in its style, and I don't remember anything extraordinary about anything difficult putting it together.
Did we have a girl sing on this one, or was it just Jody in the...
I think again, Rebecca, like the previous Psalm 4, is also on this one.
Yeah, she's an unsung hero of this first album, or maybe she's sung, I don't know. She contributed a lot.
And going back to the possible disconnect of the music and the psalm, I really don't think there is one. In the same way that there isn't with Psalm 2. There's a confidence, there's a peace. Even says later, verse 6, lift up the light of your countenance upon us, O Lord. You have put gladness in my heart.
Right.
As King David often goes to the Lord in some sort of distress. But what you find at the same time is there's peace, there's gladness.
Yeah.
And so it's entirely appropriate the way this song was set.
Absolutely appropriate. All right. Well, I suppose if there's nothing else, let's listen to God of My Righteousness.
Oh, God of my righteousness, who saves me from deepest distress, please hear me when I call and answer my request. Oh, God of my righteousness, He set apart the godly for Himself. He hears me when I'm crying out for mercy, and never will He fail to give me help. Of so much love and kindness I lie still upon your bed in silent wonder. Come bring your sacrifices unto him, the one who rides on pealing clouds of thunder. Oh God of my righteousness, who saves me from deepest distress, please hear me when I call and answer my request. Oh God of my righteousness, how long, O sons of men, will you try and shame me? How long will you keep seeking what is vain? Your lying taunts, they almost overcame me, but God has watched and kept me just the same. Oh God of my righteousness, who saves me from deepest distress, please hear me when I call and answer my request. Oh God of my righteousness, please hear me when I call to you and answer my request. Oh God of my righteousness.
Hey, if you like this song and you want to buy it, you can buy it on iTunes or Amazon or Bandcamp. You can go right now and listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music. If you want charts, lead sheets, it's all available for free at clearnotesongbook.com. And if you want to support this work and get access to great new content as we write and produce new songs, go to patreon.com/MSAL, where you can sign up for as little as a cup of coffee a month.